Hello and welcome to Awaz News. I'm Kubra Ali and I'll be taking you through big news across Canada.
Ontario could be seeing sporadic community transmission of measles. Daylight saving time when do clocks spring forward in Ontario? Ontario woman charged with coordinating sexual exploitation of child police. Driver charged in Oakville hit and run that seriously injured an elderly woman. Toronto appears to have broken a 50-year-old temperature record as mercury tops 13 Celsius. Toronto man thought he won just $50 in the lottery. He missed a few zeros. Toronto man finds container of cockroaches in his mailbox.
These were the headlines and now let's jump right into the news.
A Toronto man says that he discovered nightmare fuel, a container full of live cockroaches in his mailbox after arriving home from a day of appointments with his wife and newborn daughter last week. Christopher Lamb says that he reached for the stack of flyers and bills overflowing in the mailbox after a month spent mostly homebound since his daughter Dottie was born. Then he saw a little box. "I guess it's a gift from our past selves," he said, noting that he initially thought it may have been a package he forgot he had ordered. "I keep on pulling it out and I'm seeing brown and I'm like, okay, it's cookies. I literally got super excited. Some fresh baked cookies with milk would be amazing right now." Given that neighbors had been bringing over baked goods in recent weeks since Dottie was born, this made sense to him, he said, but that excitement was extinguished when Lamb saw the cookies were moving. It was his wife who realized the cookies were cockroaches, about a dozen of them. "They were alive and they were the size of my palm," he said. Despite his wife's protest, Lamb said that he brought the critters inside and snapped a picture to post in a couple of Toronto community groups on social media. The post soon went viral with more than 300 comments and over 500 likes. Within a few hours, Lamb got a knock on the door from an apologetic and embarrassed neighbor who had ordered the cockroaches for their tarantulas and reptiles, a high-protein snack that had been dropped off to the wrong house. "It made for a great story," Lamb laughed. "It's kind of the first odd story that involves Dottie, our newborn. I can't wait to share it with her." An Ontario woman who allegedly planned to sexually exploit a child alongside a man previously indicted for similar offences is facing charges, police said. The Durham Regional Police Service (DRPS) announced the charges in a news release issued Monday following a search warrant at an address south of Ottawa on Sunday. The charges stem from the December arrest of the 42-year-old Bowmanville resident Craig Thompson, who allegedly planned to meet an American female and engage in sexual acts with her and her children, who police said were aged 2 and 6 at the time, in a separate incident. Police said that following further analysis of the Thompson's phone, investigators discovered a conversation on the app KIK between Thompson and a woman in Canada with the username HarleyQuinn_613. The conversation detailed arrangements to engage in sexual offences against a young children, DRPS said. Following the discovery, DRPS said its Internet Child Exploitation ICE unit worked to track the women down and landed on residence in the Smith Falls, Ontario. Police said the female suspect was located inside the residence and taken into custody without incident. 37-year-old Sheena Smith is charged with agreeing or arranging to commit a sexual offense against a child under 16, making child pornography and possessing child pornography, and other alleged offenses. Her relationship with the child, if any, was not disclosed. Smith was held for a bail hearing. Investigators say they are concerned there may be other victims and are asking anyone with the information to contact them. The RPS added that the IC unit is currently working with the RCMP and U.S. law enforcement officials to investigate and take the appropriate action against the female party involved in the December incident. She was not identified by police. Health experts say there is potential for small-scale sporadic community transmission of measles in Ontario after a vaccinated adult contracted the disease. Speaking with Awaz News, York Region's medical officer of health, Dr. Barry Pakes, said this kind of case is rare. Measles is extremely transmissible. It's much more transmissible than even the most transmissible version of COVID-19, Pakes said, adding the disease can continue to live in a room 2 hours after someone with measles leaves it. We know a very small degree of measles that has circulated somewhere in the community in the Greater Toronto area, potentially in York region here, which is where this person got it. That means potentially there may be other folks who may have been exposed. Public health officials confirmed last week that they were investigating what they called a unique case of measles in a patient who was in their 30s. Paik said the patient's symptoms were not severe, likely due to their vaccinations. We are not seeing widespread community transmission, Paik stressed. And we don't expect that because we really do have excellent measles vaccine coverage throughout the entire population. 3 other cases in children have been confirmed in Ontario. All of them had recently traveled abroad. Here's what we know about them. Peel Public Health confirmed on February 13 that a child was diagnosed with measles. An infant was hospitalized in Toronto after contracting measles on February 16. On February 28, officials in Brant County confirmed a child under the age of 10 had been hospitalized with measles. As of February 23, there were 6 active cases of measles in the country. According to the Public Health Agency of Canada, most were in unvaccinated or under-vaccinated children who had traveled internationally. However, the number is slowly growing. On Monday, another confirmed case was reported in British Columbia. Infectious disease specialist Dr. Isaac Bogouch said it certainly looks like there may be community transmission of the measles, citing 2 cases in Ontario and Quebec in which there is no travel history and no obvious contact with infected individuals. He noted that given the global rise in measles infections, Canada will likely see a slight rise in cases, which is why vaccination is so important. CTV News Toronto reached out for an updated statement from Ontario's Medical Officer of Health and was directed to a February 28 memo and that warned public health units to prepare for more cases and potential outbreaks amid a rise of infection in Europe. The memo acknowledges that with March break coming up, healthcare practitioners should encourage vaccinations and report possible cases. Measles are highly contagious with symptoms that include red rashes, fever, cough, runny nose, red eyes, and fatigue. Individuals can also get unicellular white spots in their mouth. Pakes add that in some ways it can mimic the symptoms of regular cold. However, those that have 1 or 2 symptoms likely don't need to worry, as it's all the symptoms together. It's been eradicated or eliminated rather in North America and Canada since 1998 and all the Americas for a few decades now, and we really don't want to have that reintroduction. The viral infection spreads through the air and close contact. Symptoms can start to present themselves anywhere from 7 to 21 days after exposure. It's almost time to set your clocks forward 1 hour as daylight saving time begins this Sunday. Starting at 2 a.m. on March 10th, Ontarians will lose an hour as standard time comes to an end. Most of Ontario observes daylight saving time, which comes 9 days ahead of the official start of spring this year. The biannual event is meant to maximize sunlight in the northern hemisphere by adding daylight in the evening in the summer and in the morning in the fall. Daylight saving time ends on November 3, 2024 at 2 a.m., which some say is the easier of the 2 time changes observed in a calendar year due to the additional hour of sleep. While the Ontario government did pass legislation back in 2020 to stay on daylight saving time, effectively doing away with the twice-yearly time change tradition, there has been little to no movement on the issue ever since. That's because the bill, which has since received royal assent, is contingent on Quebec and New York following suit. Despite that, Premier Doug Ford said the province would eventually scrap the practice. I think we'll eventually stick with daylight saving time and just be like the rest of the Northern America, the Premier said this time last year. Police have charged a 36-year-old female driver who allegedly struck and seriously injured an elderly woman in Oakville last month before fleeing the scene. The failed to remain crash happened on February 18 near the intersection of Kingsway and Winterbourne Drives between the Queen Elizabeth Way and Royal Windsor Drive and west of Winston Churchill Boulevard. Halton Regional Police Service said they were called to the scene at 6:30 p.m. for a hit-and-run collision. The victim was taken to the hospital with serious injuries and continues to recover, police said. Oakville Criminal Investigations Bureau is handling the investigation. On March 1st, 36-year-old Jenna Tedesco of Oakville was arrested and charged with failure to remain at the scene of an accident causing bodily harm. She is set to appear in court on April 2nd. A 68-year-old technician in the Greater Toronto Area thought he won just $50 in the lottery until he noticed the extra zeros at the end of a few days later. Kan-Fung Wong of Markham decided to buy a Lotto 649 Super Draw ticket after seeing an advertisement for Valentine's Day. The Super Draw included $50,000 guaranteed prize draws, as well as the Gold Ball Draw and Classic Draw. When he got home and checked the ticket through OLG's app, Wong thought he initially won $50, but in actuality he scored $50,000. It wasn't until I checked it again a few days later when I noticed all the zeros, Wong said. The 68-year-old said he never thought he could win his much money. I was surprised, I told my wife, and she was happy, Wong said. I'm so thankful. With his winnings, Wong plans to invest and celebrate with his family over the dinner. The winning ticket for February 14 Lotto 649 draw was bought from V-Mart Convenience on Fenton Road in Markham. Toronto appears to have broken a 50-year-old temperature record for March 4th as the mercury has climbed to almost 14 Celsius. According to Environment Canada, it was 13.6 Celsius at Pearson International Airport as of 2 p.m. The unseasonably warm weather came a little earlier than expected as forecasters called for the temperature to enter record-breaking territory at around 3 p.m. when it was expected to hit 13 Celsius. The warmest March 4 on record was back in 1974 when the temperature reached 13.3 Celsius. Last month, the city broke at least 2 decades-old temperature records, one on February 9 when the mercury rose to 15.1 Celsius and again on February 28 when it hit 16.1 Celsius. Temperatures are expected to drop into the evening with partly cloudy skies and a low of 6 Celsius. The seasonal low for March 4th is minus 7.2 Celsius. Tuesday will bring with it a chance of afternoon showers, but also another warm early March day with temperatures forecast to hit 16 Celsius.
Thank you for tuning in. I'm Kubra Ali. I'll see you back tomorrow, same time, same channel. Have a good night.